great, awesome, you know what I'm saying? The legendary Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas. There he is.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Dressed in red because the Miami fans want blood.
That's a good way to look at it. That might be a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It is going down, man. Hey, follow us, of course, on the at the JeffBoxShow.com. You can follow me on that IG at the Jeff Box Show, on Twitter, on Instagram. You know, like, subscribe at YouTube, everything. And, of course, Lorenzo is available at...
I'm available at 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM. You caught me off guard there. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Lorenzo Thomas, or Facebook Lorenzo Thomas, or on IG at Lorenzo Ice-T. But more importantly, I mean, you could just go ahead and download the 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM app, where you can find our digital radio station on iHeart, Odyssey, Alexa,
That's
Amazon
right.
Fire Stick, all of the platforms where we give you hip hop and R&B at its very best. And we'll also give you some talk and great conversation, great content going down on the radio station. Thank you so much for the plug. But Jeff, first and foremost, I do have to say congratulations going out to you and your Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't believe it. The Raiders are in the playoffs. Yo. Listen, man. I can't take it, man. That game, the Raiders are exhausting. I know the Dolphins are exhausting too, the Dolphin Nation, but man, that was the hardest 3 or 4 hours of my life.
Oh, that will go down as one of the greatest regular season games of all time. That was a great game last night. Fantastic finishes at its very, very best. So if you missed that game yesterday last night between the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Chargers, got to get those cities right. You definitely missed a good game.
Yeah, man, and definitely I gotta give credit to. I see why Dolphin fans were enraged since last evening, because that kid Justin Herbert, my God, the dimes. The missiles that he was just, the lasers, I don't know what else, how to describe it, but he is unbelievable.
That pass that he made on he converted at least four
game,
downs. Right? Yes, but the one, I think it was 4th and 18 or something of that sort. And when they showed the camera overhead where you got the POV behind the quarterback, and when you had a chance to see the window that he had to throw that laser through, the Raiders defense, which was playing a zone, and he hit Mike Williams in stride. But to get it in that window and be able to, at least tie up the game with a field goal, it let me know. It was like a 19-play drive, and they converted like 4 fourth downs.
Fourth down after fourth down. And I'm like, why don't you just die already?
It was hard as a Dolphin fan to watch a quarterback that you had the opportunity to select, but you passed him up, and then the team that picked after you said, okay, we're going to pick whoever you don't pick. To see him perform the way he performed last night against your Las Vegas Raiders was incredible. And in fact, the Chargers should be in the playoffs right now if it wasn't for their coach.
Yeah, the arrogance, but we'll get to him later. Okay. Right now, the story of the day, of course, all around South Florida was the shocking, and I mean shocking, dismissal of Brian Flores as head coach of your Miami Dolphins. You're the resident Dolphin fan here, Lorenzo. Yesterday, right after the Dolphins beat the New England Patriots for the second time this season, sweeping them, did you anticipate anything like this?
Oh, not at all.
This morning?
No, not at all. This was kind of shocking, especially when you look at normally the coach and the general manager are tied at the hip. So
right.
when you win 8 out of your last 9 games, regardless of who was on your schedule, you win 8 of 9 games, and people tend to forget that the Dolphins' first 5 games were against the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, your Raiders, which that game came down to whether or not the Dolphins or the Raiders made the playoffs. If the Dolphins beat the Raiders in that game, which went into overtime, the Dolphins are in the playoffs. So they played the Raiders, and then the next game was against the Colts, who just missed the playoffs. The 5th game was against the Buccaneers. So these are all 5 games against quality opponents, and no one wants to talk about those games that they lost, but their defense was not playing the way that they're playing now. So when you look at it, the fact that they went on and the team stayed together, it was a locker room that most of the Dolphin players say that was like one they've never experienced. Most of them, they got one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. So all of these guys are coming from college, maybe one or 2 years are separating them within age. And Tua even said that the thing that kept them together is they spent a lot of time together off the court, off the field, behind the scenes, at other people's houses, playing games, doing bowling, whatever you want to say that they do off the field. Doing off the field. Those were the things that kept them together, and the person that did that was the coach. The coach really did everything he could to keep the defense and the offense working together as one, because you can't run off 8 out of 9 wins and not have a team that's still together. You can't do that. And the team stayed together, and you saw the way they played yesterday as they beat the New England Patriots, where Flores has beat.
They played inspired yesterday. They played very inspired.
Flores has now beat Belichick 3 out of the last 4 games, and I think 4 out of the 6.
4 out of 6. That's right.
6. I'm going off the top here.
Yep.
4 out of 6.
You're right.
Yeah.
4 out of 6. And this was so out of the blue, man. I mean, the sports media locally, everybody reacting, and not all in a positive way. I mean, the one local host I know that was
Big O.
Not the firing was Big O. I spoke with Big O this afternoon. I'll give you guys details of that conversation a bit later.
He is elated.
Yeah, but even Greg Cody from the Le Batard show, the Miami Herald, wrote, unjustified, unfair, shocking, egregiously premature, embarrassing, irresponsible, dumbfounding. He says there are not enough words to describe the clown show that the Miami Dolphins have become with this firing.
Yeah.
And all fingers are pointing towards owner Stephen Ross.
Stephen Ross, it comes down to that. And you have to sit back and you have to say, and I've been on a couple of shows today. I was on with your boy Luke earlier today. Thank you so much, Luke, for making me a part of your show. And he, of course, you can imagine, is very upset about the firing, as I am as well, because I think Flo should have at least got another year. In fact, a lot of people looking at his record and you're saying he was only 23-24 or 24-25. You just scrap that first year. Forget the first year, because even ownership knows that we were basically tanking for Tua. That was the song. So just scrap that record. And they were 0-7, looking like one of the worst teams we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. So, and then he turned that around and ended up winning 5 of the last 4 with the help of Ryan Fitzpatrick. So when you use that record of 5-11 against him, I don't think that's fair. So just go ahead and you look at the last 2 years, because that first year was a stripping down of the roster. It didn't matter who you had. He was they worked the waiver wire like no one else just to field players to be able to win a game. So just forget about that and look at the last 2 years where he was 10-6, and then you had 9-8 this year.
19-14 total.
Okay.
And consecutive winning seasons, Lorenzo.
For the first time since 2006 for the Miami Dolphins. We haven't seen that. And he created a culture within the Miami Dolphins, which was tough and disciplined. One of the most disciplined teams, and one of the most, and probably the youngest. I think they're the second youngest team in the NFL. You don't have a team that's disciplined and young.
I just don't get what they're doing here with the Dolphins. I've got a column coming out of the JeffBoxShow.com which says, when are we going to stop this start thing? Start, build, 3 years out, start again, 3 years out. Like, you've got to establish a culture here. And I can tell you, I've heard from the Dolphin fan base all day. They're not happy.
No, we're not.
They're not happy.
We're not.
How do you fire a guy that goes 19-14 these last 2 years? I get it. They didn't make the playoffs, but back-to-back winning seasons? Hello?
But you haven't
had that. You haven't had that for the majority of 20 years around here.
Well, I think some of the problems are coming from not necessarily. I did hear that Flo was kind of hard to deal with. He was hard to talk to. Maybe not approachable and just really hard. But I think you have to be that way as a coach. But sometimes you have to treat people differently. Now let's look at his boys that have come from New England to play for them. Graham was out in 1 year. We're talking about the defensive coordinator that left in 1 year and then went to go be a defensive coordinator for the Giants. Okay, yes, it may have been he wanted to go back to New York, but he was out. Cal Van Noy. What happened there? That was his boy. What were the problems that were behind the scenes that we don't know about that was happening? Of course, you know that Chris Greer and Flores was knocking heads over that decision to draft Tua Tagovailoa in the first place. When it
allegedly, that's what I'm hearing.
And that's what it comes down to. And every time, can you imagine how Flo felt watching that game last night? When your quarterback just passed for 109 yards and Duke Johnson basically ran for more yards than your quarterback threw for. That New England game yesterday should not have even been close. Shouldn't have come down to that. Tua threw the ball 5 times in the second half. 5.
Unbelievable.
That's it. And now, of course, I think he was 15 for 22. I'm going off the top. But the throws that he missed was off. He's a natural right-hander. His predominant hand is right, but he throws left. So where's your strength? It's in your right hand because it's your predominant hand. So once his father taught him to throw with his left hand, he does not. And if you're on the field, and I've been on the field to watch him throw the ball, he does not have the zip. And you saw that zip from Justin Herbert. Now, also to add for Flores, Flores coached in the Senior Bowl. Who was the quarterback he was playing against? Justin Herbert. And you mean to tell me I'm sitting here, 2020 draft, we've got 3 first-round draft choices, and it's been rumored that Stephen Ross was enamored with Tua. Of course, Chris Greer was enamored with Tua. You want to draft Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert, and he's coming off of a career-threatening hip injury? If you're Flores, yeah, you might be a little uptight too. Mm-hmm. You might be a little upset too, especially when the games count, when it comes down to it, and you need your quarterback to show up. Let's go back to that game against your Raiders last year.
Yep.
Playoffs on the line. What did Tua do? Got replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick. We win the game in a miracle fashion. And then the next week, we got to win the game to make the playoffs. What did Tua do? Dolphins spotted. Basically, Buffalo gave the Dolphins 3 points, and they got blown up by Buffalo. What happens this year? Tua's got to show up. The Dolphins 3-and-out against the Titans. First drive. Next drive, another 3-and-out to the Titans. And how does the Dolphins offense reward the Dolphins defense? They give the Titans the ball on their third drive at their own 46-yard line. If you're a defender, you are frustrated. If you're a defensive-minded coach, you're frustrated with this offense and the limitations that it has.
Yeah. Obviously, this offense has a lot of work to do. And I think Flores was realizing that and probably going to make some changes to this offense, but he didn't get the opportunity. A quick hook.
I think
that's something I have a problem with around the National Football League when it comes to African American coaches. Now, I don't think at all. I'm not saying that this is a racial situation. It's not. The Dolphins have several African Americans in their front office, including Reggie McKenzie. So they've got people in place. It isn't that. But overall, this is a bad look for the National Football League.
No, but this is what happened, Jeff. This is what I believe happened.
Bad look for the NFL.
This is what happened.
You got 2 coaches in the league that's 70% black. You've got 2 head coaches now, Mike Tomlin and Cully out there in Texas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think the choice was Brian Flores. They had to change the offense. So therefore, I believe the conversation between Stephen Ross and Brian Flores was, can we basically mend this relationship between you and Greer, which is obviously strained? It's a relationship that was strained. Can we fix it? And possibly they could not fix it. And what they needed to do was, one, correct this offense, and of course, the dual offensive coordinators who are Flores boys, you got to fire them. We got to bring in someone else. We got to bring in someone like, maybe we can overpay Eric Bieniemy and bring him in here to fix this offense. Maybe that's what needs to be done. And Flores said, no, I'm not firing my guys. Well, if you're not going to fire him, we're going to have to fire you. And I believe that's exactly what it came down to, because this offense was dreadful. And he's been through 4 coordinators over the last 3 years, and people have had an issue working with him and for him. So it was going to be hard to bring somebody in here. And he just basically decided, like, look, I'm not firing my guys. Peace, I'm out.
I got to tell you, Lorenzo, when I first heard the news, I was saying, okay, they're going to get something must be in place to get Jim Harbaugh. But Ross immediately shot that down. Here he is.
Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh. He had the opportunity once before to come to the Miami Dolphins, but he's at the University of Michigan, as everybody really knows. I guess that's really one of my that is the school I graduated from, and I'm very involved in it. And I'm not going to be the person who takes Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. I hope he stays there. He is a great coach.
I think you had a great coach in Brian Flores, at least one in the making, But again, not enough time here. I think this was a year too soon for Ross to make this move. And you and I were both around this team in training camp. We saw how much Stephen Ross wanted to win. He stressed that with his team, with the coaching staff, with his GM. But it didn't start off really well for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, a 1-7 start. You got to put that on somebody. And Coach Flo, I think, took the blame for it.
Yeah, he'll get the blame for it. But it's interesting that you have to listen to what Stephen Ross said there with that quote. He says, I am not going to be the one that takes away John Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim.
If the job is his, if he wants it.
Right. Exactly. He says, I'm not going to take away Jim Harbaugh. However, if he decides to leave, well, he didn't finish it like that. So if Jim decides to leave, he can come to the Miami Dolphins, and Stephen Ross would welcome him with open arms. And that could be what's going to happen.
I don't know. The reaction has been swift. And it has been an angry reaction from the Miami Dolphin fan base all over the state and all over the country. Everybody's talking about what happened here in South Florida with the dismissal of Brian Flores. And here's a clip I got from my buddy Evan Cohen up the coast at ESPN Florida with his comments on that. He went off.
They've done it again. The Miami Dolphins have fired a coach yet again. It is remarkable what this franchise has done. I could say I'm shocked that they fired Brian Flores today, but it's the Dolphins. I don't know how you can't love Brian Flores. I think he's a big-time coach. I think he represents the organization well. And I think the Dolphins, still led by Stephen Ross, got to be fair, have this mentality that they are a big-time franchise. And they're not. You have not been a big-time significant franchise since 1972. But the Miami Dolphins think they're something they are not. The Miami Dolphins think they are an elite franchise that can just circle through coaches, that all of a sudden they're going to get somebody better than Brian Flores. Let me explain something. I get the fact that he started 1-7 just like he finished winning 8 of his last 9. I get the fact that it's been one quarterback and 2 in and then out, whether it's Ryan Fitzpatrick or Jacoby Brissett. I get the fact that he's had all these different offensive coordinators. But let's be clear. The Miami Dolphins had Brian Flores for 3 years. He was 5-11, 10-6, 9-8. This is the first time they've had back-to-back winning seasons over the course of 2 seasons since 2000. All right? He beat the Patriots yesterday. He beat the Patriots to start the season. They will not get a coach better than Brian Flores.
We said that. And it's exactly right, man. They won't find a better coach. Unless, you know, like you said, man, the deal is in place for Harbaugh, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
I mean,
I don't know. And I feel bad for these fans because once again, you're going to have to hit the reset button. And they're not happy. And Dolphin fans, as I wrote on the JeffBoxShow.com, deserve better. They're starving for wins. They're starving for success. At least I saw a glimmer of hope with Brian Flores. I did. This defense was top-notch. They were. They had some moments, but for the most parts, they were top-notch. Going into Sunday, I think they led the NFL in sacks. I mean, that was his specialty, and they were good. They needed to fix that offense. I don't want to blame Tua here entirely either. I don't want to, you know, Tua has his limitations. We all know. But that offensive line was like Swiss cheese. It was pathetic. And the Dolphin fans deserve better than what they've got. We're talking about the firing of Brian Flores as Miami Dolphins head coach. I want to hear your reaction, folks. I'm reading the chat. Good afternoon to Ralph Hanna over there in the Bahamas. And, of course, the sports governor in Minnesota, Vince Wright. We're going to blow off the commercials right now, and I'm going to bring in my buddy DJ Red, who is, of course, a part of one of the best Miami Dolphins fan groups on Facebook. Fins up. DJ Red is in the house. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? What's up?
Lorenzo,
What's good,
I got
man?
to tell you that my buddy right here, DJ Red, was live on Facebook this morning, and he was dropping F-bombs like he was Richard Pryor or somebody like that. Like, he was pissed.
Oh, look, that's serious F-bombs if you're dropping them like like Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
Dropping them like it was hot, man.
Yeah, it was hot, man. Like, and I mean, just from the fans' perspective, because again, the fans don't know everything that's going on with the day-to-day operations of this franchise. I have talked with a lot of beat writers today because everybody's been calling me, and I talked with some of the beat writers as well. For the most part, where this was unexpected.
Very unexpected, man. To be honest with you, I was on my way to work, man, and my father-in-law, he sent the text. I thought he was joking because he's always joking with me. And I was driving. I say, Pop, I don't have time today, man. But when I looked again, I was like, what? Man, You saw my live today, bro. Hey, this is the new 2022 Dolphins jersey right here. I'm wearing them all in reverse. Wearing them all in reverse, bro.
Yeah.
Pissed with the organization, bro.
Yeah. And that's just the typical reaction, Lorenzo.
Yeah. You know how I found out? I found out because I was actually listening to, I can't remember which station here in South Florida. And I said, you know what? I want to hear how the New England radio stations are talking about them catching these L's to the Dolphins, you know, because the Dolphins have beat them 4 out of the last 6. You know what I mean? We got this. So I turned to the New England station and, of course, Boston station, in fact, and they say breaking news. You know, the Dolphins have fired Brian Flores. And I'm like, oh, these guys on here joking.
Gotta be joking.
I said, they are joking. And I quickly turned back to QAM and I am like, you have to be joking. This is shocking. But
you win 8 of your last 9 games. You think you're going in the right direction, right?
But you would
Absolutely.
think they were going to give him at least one more year.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's it. You know what I mean? You would say he had a contract for 5 years. You're going to give him one more because if you think about it, 10-6 normally gets you in the playoffs. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, and I've been getting on Jeff because, you know, that loss to the Raiders in Vegas, we win that game. We are in the playoffs, and we didn't have Tua in that game. And then you go to the Jacksonville game where Flores did make some coaching mistakes in that game. So if you remember, he went for it on 4th down on outside of the field, right? We go for it. We miss it. Then we sack him. We back him up, right? And then what happens? It's 5 seconds left to go in the game. Jacksonville's at the 50-yard line, and they're about to prepare for a Hail Mary. And, of course, Flores calls a timeout. Similar to what the Chargers coach did last night. He calls a timeout, and Urban Meyer says, instead of doing the Hail Mary, let's see, we got a timeout. Let's see if we can get about 10 yards, get a little bit closer. And then they execute the play, and they kick a walk-off field. That game right there, those coaching decisions that he made in that game, and he challenged 2 plays back to back. Mind you, the whole organization's over there. It's in London, and you give the Jacksonville Jaguars their very first win. I think that's when Stephen Ross said to himself, you know what? He's got to go. Move on. It's time to move on. I think that's when he decided we can't deal with this anymore.
Bingo did tell me that he feels that the decision to let go of Brian Flores was not just made overnight. It may have been made
then
quite a few games ago.
London.
And
Jeff, you don't know how low we felt after that loss to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that hurt.
And it was the way we lost.
Still, listen. This may be overreaction by this Miami Dolphin coaching staff. The facts are that Brian Flores has been winning. He's been winning back-to-back winning seasons. That should count for something. It should.
Yeah, but then also 4 offensive coordinators. Some people indicating that they can't work with him and he's hard to work for. Look at how the Chan Gailey. I mean, we had one of our best offensive performances last season with Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick as quarterback. We had one of our best performing offensive years last year with Chan Gailey. And look at that debacle at the end of the year. Flores said, "Oh no, he's coming back." Chan Gailey said, "Yo, I'm out of here, deuces." You know what I'm saying? And I think it was after they said something about Tua Tagovailoa being our quarterback. And you just got to look at, and then what really hurt this team for the first 8 weeks of the season was the Deshaun Watson rumors.
Which was created by who? The Miami Dolphins themselves.
The people up top. The people up top.
It was leaked out. Yep. It leaked out that they were interested, and Tua had that big cloud along with injury, that he had to battle. And Brian Flores, to his credit, went to the defense of his quarterback.
He did.
He stuck by him, even though maybe behind the scenes he may have felt otherwise.
Yeah. But
I don't want to go reporting stuff that I cannot confirm. But again, rumors are that there are some issues, between he and his quarterback.
Right, but you got to look at that.
Happens,
it's not Flores.
Football.
Hey, but Jeff, it's not Flores that's talking. It's not causing these rumors. It's Stephen Ross and the management that are causing these rumors. So Who do you have to point the finger at? You got to point the finger at Stephen Ross, who's probably the one that made the call to start Tua Tagovailoa after 6 games last year. Brian Flores is looking at you like, what are you talking about? Right. He's not even healthy. We just beat San Francisco to a pulp. I can't remember who we beat the game before that, and now we got the Rams coming up. You want me to do what? You want me to start Tua Tagovailoa, who doesn't even know the playbook, against Aaron Jones?
One of the top defensive teams.
Are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. Okay, all right, we're going to start him. And then in the Denver game, 5 straight 3-and-outs. He gets sacked 5 or 6 times. I have to replace him with Ryan Fitzpatrick and almost wins that game. But he throws an interception in the end zone where Pro Bowler Simmons intercepts the ball. Then the Raiders game. Tua's not doing anything, and Ryan Fitzpatrick comes off the bench.
So the fact that Herbert was on national television last night and showing all of his God-given skills on my Raiders, like just unbelievable darts all over the place. And Miami Dolphin fans saw that. And that was a lot of the conversation today as well as they talked about the firing of Brian Flores. DJ Red, what are you hearing as far as the reaction for Dolphins?
Man, I'm still in shock. I'm still total just, man, I can't put it together, but some of the things that I am hearing is that he didn't have control of the locker room, which I find that's
false.
Crazy.
That's false.
I find that crazy. I find that crazy because of the 7-game win streak. And I do believe that the guys did love Coach Flo. Something else I'm hearing about the Jim Harbaugh crap, which I do believe that's in full effect.
You think so?
Yes.
Despite what Stephen Ross said.
Yes. Yes.
He's emphatically said.
Yes.
I'm not going to take him away. I'm not going to take him away. But if Jim wants to leave on his own,
right.
That's it.
And I do believe that Stephen Ross wants Deshaun Watson. Right. And he's going to pull the trigger if he can clear all the allegations. I do believe.
Lorenzo, Red, I'll be honest with y'all. If you can get Deshaun Watson, you make that move.
Hell yeah.
From a football perspective, again, look at the teams in the playoffs, man. Look at the teams. Look at the quarterback position. You got to have a game, a guy that makes things happen at quarterback. You got to have a difference maker.
That's right.
Is Tua really that? I don't think so.
No, we know so. We know so.
Ryan Tannehill is in the playoffs, but Ryan Tannehill is in a perfect situation with a strong running game, a beast of an offensive line, and of course a pretty decent defense.
Right, and the Dolphins.
Don't forget about the running backs.
And the Dolphins defense saw that Titans offensive line up close and personal last weekend. We saw that. We saw what they did to their defense, so that's a problem. However, I do believe, because I believe the trade was on the table for Deshaun Watson last year before the allegations came out. You got to remember the timeline.
And it's going to come up again in this offseason.
That's right. So therefore, once those allegations came up, it was like, we got to put that to rest. And still, are we going to do it? Are we not? And that fog, that haze was over this team for the first 8 weeks. Once the trade deadline took off, then, it is coincidental that all of a sudden, after the trade deadline did pass, that now Brian Flores starts playing the zero blitz defense. The defense kind of changed a little bit around that time, and that's where we went on that 7-game winning streak. I thought it was kind of odd that we didn't play more of that in the early part of the season, but Javon Holland wasn't playing the way he was playing. Jalen Phillips wasn't there. You had McCourty back there. You had Rowe back there. So you didn't have the speed on the defense in the early part of the season. So that could kind of justify. And Byron Jones and Xavier Howard were hurt. So that could justify why he didn't do that. But it's just, it's kind of coincidental that right after the trade deadline, Brian Flores takes over the defense and then end up leading the NFL in sacks, if that is the case right now. I don't even know. But I think Deshaun Watson, and if it's not Jim Harbaugh, it might be Eric Bieniemy. Because of Deshaun Watson and the ties that they had in Houston, you got to remember. You got to remember, Jeff. Jeff, you got to remember. Deshaun Watson was mad with the Houston Texans organization because they did not interview Eric Bieniemy because he recommended him.
Right.
His whole problem with the organization is like, look, you're not involving me along with the decisions that you are making. Please include me. Hey, you know what I suggest? Interview Eric Bieniemy. They didn't even listen to him. So they're kind of like a package. And if you can kind of keep Josh Boyer, the defensive coordinator right now that knows how to run this scheme, you go ahead and you re-sign Emmanuel Ogbah. Go ahead and get him locked in. Okay. See if Landon Roberts wants to stay. He may want to go where Flo goes. You never know. But if he wants to stay, now you still got your defense intact. And this offseason, All you got to do is work on the offense. Eric Bieniemy comes in with his offense. You bring Deshaun Watson, who has a no-trade clause, and Deshaun Watson could be like, oh, this team wants you. This team wants Houston could be to Deshaun. Oh, they want to trade for you. They're going to give up this to Deshaun and be like, nah, I want to go to Miami. Hey, Miami. Yo, Christian. Hey, Christian.
Word is that he was connected to Flores as well.
Yeah,
so
but
we don't know.
All you got to do is tell Christian Wilkins, tell the Dolphins don't offer more than 2 number ones, and I'll approve the trade. That's all he got to say.
Think about.
That's all he got. And then when he gets here, $40 million, you got to renegotiate that.
Again, I'm of the firm belief that if you can get a Deshaun Watson here, and you got the pieces, you make it happen. He's a winner. You know, he's a difference maker. You know, a lot of times with this Dolphin team, when you saw Tua flush out of the pocket, the play was over.
Oh my goodness, he could not extend plays.
It was over.
He could not extend plays.
You know,
and you're gonna, but hold up. Tua's not probably Tua. You probably keep Tua because Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended for at least maybe 4. He's going.
We don't join R. Kelly in the big house.
But I'm just saying, yo, you're being funny. So, but you know what I'm saying. But you know, you're gonna keep Tua. So whatever coach is gonna have Tua, and then you got the trade deadline. So Deshaun should be reinstated before the trade deadline, and then if you want to trade,
provided he is innocent.
Providing, of course, all of this is basically based on him being basically maybe if he's going to go ahead and just do whatever he has to do to make sure these cases go away. If he has to settle, then go ahead and settle. But he's going to want to play some football. So if he does that, I like that. That was a scenario that I came up with because you can see they want to keep things intact. They want to keep Chris Greer, and they probably want to keep the defense. If we can get someone just to come and fix the offense, which they probably
want to keep the defense,
right? So they probably said, "Flo, we're gonna have to get a new offensive coordinator in here. You're gonna have to fire these guys." And he could have said, "Nah, I'm not firing them. I'm not firing my boys. Well, if you're not gonna fire him, we want to fire you, and then we're gonna have to bring somebody else in."
DJ Red, I want to thank you for joining us, man, real quickly, man, and let everybody know where they can find you at, brother.
You guys can find me on Instagram at DJ_Red, REDD 305, TikTok at DJ_Red 305, and
follow him on TikTok. He's crazy.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, before I go, I just got one question, guys, for you and Lorenzo.
Okay.
First of all, this is not a sad day for Brian Flores because he basically can go any way he want to go.
Oh, man.
So before I go, I just want to ask you guys, where is he going? Because he's going somewhere.
I think he's going to Minnesota.
I say Chicago.
Minnesota or Chicago, yeah. Not a bad choice by you, by the way.
He got a young quarterback. He got a decent running game over there.
You're right.
Definitely have a defense.
Chicago is definitely a great fit.
Yeah. And he's a defensive-minded coach. I believe it's the perfect spot for him.
Well, what about the Panthers? And then he goes to the Panthers and he gets Deshaun Watson to go with him there.
Yeah. That's
I'm thinking in a situation where he already have a quarterback, as in Justin Fields already. But the Panthers is a good spot
but
for
no,
him
I like Chicago. And that depends on how he feels. And he got a chance to see Justin Fields up close and personal during the preseason.
Right.
So
absolutely.
You never know. Yeah. It'll be interesting. But he's going to be okay because I think he still has 2 more years on that contract.
He's good.
And you better believe his phone was blowing up today.
Definitely.
And we're going to hit a quick break when we come back. Hey, thanks a lot, DJ Red.
All right,
Red. We are going to be joined by Tyler Butler from the Sports and Culture Podcast. He'll be joining us next as we talk about another problem that's glaring in the National Football League. Talk about that next. just let me take you back to school. It's all about the old school Sundays at the Round Table, 11205 Northwest 7th Avenue. The fun starts early at 6 p.m. with yours truly, baby, DJ Jeff Fox, playing the jam. We got pool tables, flat screen, everywhere. Come watch the big game. And we've got the best daily happy hour in the city. The best bartenders serving up our daily drink special. Tequila sour, lemon drop, sex on the beach, amaretto sour, Washington apple, only $4. Margaritas only $5. And a whole lot more. You want shots? We got shots. Bacardi, Tito's, Hennessy, Patron. Why go anywhere else? Come vibe with us at the Round Table. Yes, the Round Table, 11205 Northwest 7th Avenue. And you know you got to be there.
3 vocal powerhouses. 1 epic night. It's Maxwell's Night Tour with Anthony Hamilton and Joe. The Night Tour starring Maxwell, featuring Anthony Hamilton and Joe. Visit bpctickets.com. Brought to you by the Black Promoters Collective.
To contact the Jeff Fox Show, send your email to getthattea@gmail.com. That's GETDATTEA @gmail.com. The Jeff Fox Show is powered by the Brand Star Sports and Entertainment. Sports, entertainment's lifestyle. We give the people what they want. And now back to more of the Jeff Fox Show.
Myers, little pitch play back, and it's taken for the Miami touchdown. Sam Aguilar.
Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh. He had the opportunity once before to come to the Miami Dolphins, but he's at the University of Michigan, as everybody really knows. I guess that's really one of my that is the school I graduated from, and I'm very involved in it. And I'm not going to be the person who takes Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan.
Wow. Okay. Welcome back to the Jeff Fox Show. So Ross is not going to be the one to take Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. Let's say he stays at the University of Michigan. Who is your next head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Lorenzo Ice-T?
I mean, I have to go with what I was saying earlier. You have to go ahead and you get an offensive-minded coach, and the one that comes to mind is Eric Bieniemy. He has been turned down for a couple of head coaching positions. You've been rumored to be linked to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson wanted Eric Bieniemy to be interviewed for a coach at the Houston Texans, and the organization decided not to do that. I think they ultimately did follow up with an interview. And the reason why he has not been able to land a job is that they say he doesn't interview well. So, right. Okay. I understand. Okay, he may not interview well, but he sure knows how to coach an offense. If you look at, yes, they do have Patrick Mahomes over there as quarterback, but you get a Deshaun Watson to come along with an Eric Bieniemy, and he brings a couple of those. We don't need Tyreek Hill. We don't need Travis Kelce. You just bring a couple of those other wide receivers you got down there, over there in Kansas City to go with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, and then you go ahead and you re-sign Devontae Parker to a veteran minimum. Duke Johnson come back or draft a running back, and you have a decent offense here. Of course, offensive line has to be addressed, and I just figured you should go ahead and spend that $75 million that is projected under the cap on some offensive tackles. And you maybe draft a center or so on and so forth. But you sign Mike Gesicki, you sign Emmanuel Ogbah, you make those moves, and the Dolphins, who were a win away from being in the playoffs this year, can correct some of those things and those problems that they had in the early part of the season.
All right, I'd like to welcome my man Tyler Butler right here to the Jeff Fox Show. Check it in. Sports and culture.
What's up, Tyler?
Enough with the bullshit podcast. I'm saying, like you said, yeah. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love Lorenzo. This brother wrote something today, man, that spoke to my soul.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and with your permission, of course, Tyler, I'm going to put that on the JeffFoxShow.com because Tyler spoke on it this morning, man, and I want you to kind of elaborate what happened today with Brian Flores. Let's take whatever the Dolphin reasons were for getting rid of him, but the fact that the National Football League now has not one but only 2 African American head coaches is such a travesty, and you spoke on that today. Tell us more.
Yeah, man, I was, of course, absolutely devastated by the news of Brian Flores today. You know, coming off of that season, he was I think that was the second season within 16 years. No, excuse me, the 4th season within 16 years that the Dolphins has been over 500. So it's just another casualty, man, for African American coaches not getting the tenure that other coaches get to at least go in and change the culture of an organization. Yeah, it's a cultural problem down there in Miami.
Certainly is. We did not get the opportunity to change that culture, you know, and a lot of people have pointed out the fact that you go back as far as Jim Caldwell, you know, who had winning seasons in Detroit. And, you know, he was ran out of there rather quickly. How come, in your opinion, African-American coaches get such a short leash around the league? I'm not talking about here in Miami, but the fact that around the league, they just don't seem to get enough time to make that culture change that you talked about.
Yeah. As far as the reasoning, you know, I'm not for certain why we're getting the short leash in the NFL, but it's extremely unfortunate. I mean, look at the situation down there in Houston. Can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's also rumored to be getting let go sometime within the next couple of days. And he came into a situation. Yeah, go ahead.
You're talking David Culley? Is it?
David Culley. There's rumors going around that Houston could possibly be moving on. And I'm like, he came into a situation where clearly the star quarterback didn't play all year. Right. They were just, I think, over ownership changes and coming off of all kind of, you know, racial allegations from the season before. Mm-hmm. So he's coming into another circus-like atmosphere, and you take away the best player on the team, the star, the quarterback, the brain of the system, and you expect this man to win.
To make miracles.
Yeah, just go out there and make miracles. That's what we need you to do. And then you decide to maybe let go of him because he wasn't able to succeed. That's bogus.
Yeah, Lovie Smith fired after a 10-win season. As I mentioned, Jim Caldwell, back-to-back 9-win seasons, let go. Now Brian Flores fired after back-to-back winning seasons. It does give one the impression that winning isn't enough to keep your head coaching job if you're black in the National Football League.
I mean, it's starting to seem that way, and it's not just the NFL. Look at the collegiate level as well. Yeah, we're not really getting the opportunities that we deserve there, but I think that it's an absolute travesty that you have coaches with high tenure like a Hugh Jackson or Herm Edwards that probably not even going to get another opportunity, so they have to go to the collegiate level just to receive that opportunity.
Something you mentioned in your column, you know, when you wrote that today, you mentioned the name of Herm Edwards and Hugh Jackson, and now we've got some possibilities with Byron Leftwich and maybe Eric Bieniemy, but it doesn't seem like the Rooney Rule, in my opinion, other than the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's some kind of joke. It really is. It's not working.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be resurfaced on exactly because it's not working. I mean, clearly right now, like you said earlier, there's 2 African-American coaches left in the NFL as of today. Mm-hmm. They're bringing them in almost like and I'm just going to be honest here, it's like a checkbox. Like we're just going to check it off. Hey, we interviewed them. We did what we need to do. Now let's just move on. And I don't think they're getting the fair shake there is as their counterparts and colleagues are getting. They're just, bringing them in and going through the circle, sending them back out along their way. But Eric Bieniemy, there should be no reason why this man doesn't have a head coach position as of today.
I cannot figure that one out.
Well, he doesn't interview well, as I said earlier. That's the reason why he, you gotta knock it out the box when you go into that interview. But I didn't have a chance to read your article. I definitely will check it out. But I do have to say just a little bit in defense of the Miami Dolphins organization. I do not feel.
No. I'm not saying that at all, Lorenzo.
Yeah. No. But just in defense of them, because we have some friends there, that are people of color that work for that organization. And that would be the last thing anyone would say that color had anything to do. And I'm not saying that people are saying that, but it is unfortunate that we seem as if we have to perform above and beyond our white counterparts in order to keep a job. But a lot of the problems that Brian Flores was having was behind the scenes with management. And the Dolphins have a black general manager. So those were the two that were knocking heads with one another. And just based on some of the reports, it's like, can y'all fix this? This needs to be fixed. And it just didn't seem like it could be fixed.
Right.
So
and Tyler, it's a league-wide problem. We're not by any means pointing fingers at the Dolphins, because the Dolphins were the only team, and I pointed that out, that had a black GM and a black head coach in the National Football League, and kudos to them for that. At least gave them the opportunity. But we're not seeing guys get the opportunity around the league. And you mentioned guys like Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich, Leslie Frazier, Todd Bowles. These are names that are being mentioned as potential hires, but how long are they going to get? It seems like the black coaches are, more likely to be fired, you know what I'm saying? And least likely to be hired when it comes to it.
Yeah.
It's a fact. You've got two black head coaches in the NFL, 70% black players. Come on, man.
Yeah, and you guys are absolutely right. The reports, and from what I heard as well, just from covering the Dolphins myself, it does seem like the situation with Brian Flores and the general manager, they was kind of bumping heads. So it was a matter of, hey, we're going to have to probably let go of someone.
Right.
So the Dolphins are a little bit different type of situation. They are one of the few, if not the only NFL team that had an African-American head coach and someone in a general manager position. But it just seems like overall the spectrum of it,
it doesn't look
a lot of African-American coaches only get 1 to 3 years to turn around a losing organization.
How does Joe Judge still keep his job in New York?
And Brian Flores doesn't have a job.
Brian Flores doesn't have a job in Miami. Like, it doesn't seem like we're dealing with a level playing field here when it comes to this. And this is something the NFL is going to have to fix. I don't have the answer. I don't think you guys have the answer either, But in a league that's predominantly black, this is some bullshit.
Well, the league tried to do something, whereas they're now, if I guess you're not applying by the Rooney Rule, they can dock draft picks.
Right.
I per se didn't like that so much because it's now seemed like it's going to be forced.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, when you force somebody's hand, you're not going to get the greatest results at the end of the day. But we got some big names coming up. You got hopefully Todd Bowles will get another chance to interview for a job. Definitely Brian Leftwich is being, rumored to go down to Jacksonville.
He's a high prospect. He was
an interim coach for the Dolphins for a few games too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with these openings, I'm curious to see how everything is going to play out within the next week or so of who's going to get these opportunities.
Certainly. And again, man, there are opportunities popping up around the league. Today was like Black Monday, no pun intended.
I know, right?
It's hard today.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, did you have to?
I kind of had to, but
Nah, that's the Raider in him coming out right there. He is not rubbing that victory. Thank you, Jeff, for not rubbing that victory in my face today. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I haven't done it yet, but I am going to.
Yeah, I'm going to be gone by that time. You'll be on Dolo.
I am going to. Even in regards to my Raiders, Tyler, and I'll ask you this final one before you go. Let's say Rich Bisaccia does make some headway in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
With this team, because they're going against the Bengals in Cincinnati. They're going to the jungle. They're 6-point underdogs already. And Joe Burrow and that dynamic Cincinnati offense is going to be hard to stop. What do you think about the chances of Rich Bisaccia, considering all the crap the Raiders went through with, John Gruden, with Henry Ruggs, and all the other stuff off the field, and Derek Carr still being able to hold it down? Should he be retained as head coach?
I think if he's definitely able to pull off this upset, absolutely. But I've been a bit Rich fan since the Dallas Cowboys. He was a special teams coach and highly respected throughout the NFL. So
still is, yeah.
Yeah, still is. And so once he got that opportunity, I was kind of ecstatic because I felt like it was kind of overdue for him to get that opportunity. So I hope, look at what all he had to overcome. Talk about a circus of, with the head coach and then the situation with Ruggs, to turn that situation around to now the Raiders being in the playoffs.
That's remarkable to me. It really is remarkable. Remarkable. Hey, let everybody know where they can find you, man. You got a great podcast. Let everybody know about it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Always hit us up on Instagram, Sports and Culture. Twitter is My Sports Culture, or you can go to our website, which is www.sportsandculture.media. Sportsandculture.media.
But what's the name of the podcast again?
Oh, it's Enough with the BS podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, man, Tyler, we appreciate you, man. I know it's your first time joining us here on the show, but we definitely got to do it again, all right?
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
All right, man, and keep writing that stuff, man. Keeping it real like that, man. I love that. I love the work you do.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Love y'all, too. Big fans.
Big fan. Thank you, man. We appreciate that. That's my man, of course, Tyler Butler. Enough with the BS podcast. They keep it real right there, of course, on that podcast right there as well. Big shout out to you, Miami Heat. Yes, I see you, Lorenzo. The Heat signed Kyle Guy. My guy, Kyle Guy. Second 10-day contract. Yo, this dude needs to be in the NBA.
Yes, he does. Rio didn't get another contract?
I don't know. I haven't checked that. I haven't gotten an email from them regarding that.
Okay.
I've got to check my emails on that, but I haven't seen Rio play for even a minute. What's going on there?
Don't know. I think we just wanted to see him out there for nostalgic sake. But the way the Miami Heat have been playing, the beatdown they put on the Phoenix Suns the other night, beating them by 23. And, of course, Phoenix had their team. The Heat was shorthanded. And a guy was out there balling, as well as Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. So I'm just so proud of the Miami Heat and the way that they're playing, with 42 games left to go in the season, and 25 of those will be at home.
I love this Heat team. I got to be honest with you. Yurtseven, I don't know where they found this guy.
Yeah.
And again, I always talk about
Georgetown.
This. The guys with the Heat culture, when it comes to it, the guys with that Miami Heat DNA.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero has it. Matt Strus has it. Gabe Vincent has it.
PJ Tucker has it.
PJ Tucker definitely has it. It just permeates down the entire roster. This team is going to be hard to deal with in the playoffs. Did you happen to see the Los Angeles Lakers last night, who had the winning streak snapped by the Memphis Grizzlies?
I saw
that. And Ja Morant made a play that just seemed unhuman.
Woo! You got it?
It was straight out of a Disney movie. Take a look.
Well, obviously it starts with timing, and also just stalking your prey, and that's exactly what Ja was doing. That whole play, and I seen it happening. Didn't know he was going to do it in that fashion, but Come
on, man! That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
He's
Lorenzo.
At the top of the square, man. That's how high he was.
It didn't look real. it looked fake. It looked like somebody was playing with the cameras, man.
Was LeBron on the court at that time, or was he on the bench?
Let me see the highlight again.
Well, obviously it starts with timing. And also just just stalking your prey. And that's exactly what Ja was doing.
Dude looked like he was flying, man. He looked like he was flying. The Grizzlies are going to be a problem.
Yes, they are.
And I got to give LeBron James some credit here as well. He's been balling, man. And everyone calls me a LeBron apologist, but the man is 37 years old.
Yeah.
In every other game I see, LeBron has 35 points. 35, but the Lakers are losing. And they're hovering around that 6-7 seed. They ain't going nowhere, bro, Lorenzo.
You don't think so? I mean, we just finished talking about the Miami Heat and how they are going to perform once Bam comes back and Jimmy comes back and they're at full strength. And now you know that they have depth. So the Lakers are kind of in the same situation where these guys are having an opportunity to play. And they have a lot of, they've got, how many guys do they have on their roster that are going to be in the Hall of Fame? So I guess as you know what I'm saying, as they get healthy and we approach the playoffs, the Lakers should be ready.
No, they're not going anywhere.
Wow.
And I'm a Laker fan.
Right.
You know that, right?
Right.
But
I know.
They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They don't want to see the Grizzlies. They don't want to see the Phoenix Suns. They don't want to see the Golden State Warriors. And I get it that they have iconic players on their roster, iconic players who are past their prime. They're not going to get an easy ride in these playoffs.
Yeah, and Golden State just got better. Klay Thompson returned, and he scored 17 points. So as he gets his legs underneath him and gets some rhythm, they're going to be a hard out. And looks like it will come down to Phoenix and the Warriors when it comes down to the Western Conference Finals.
Yep, certainly. Of course, around the NFL, the playoffs are set. Raiders will be in Cincinnati, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of people, man, watching that game last night thought that it would have been interesting if the Raiders had took a knee. And we were cracking up about it, but Lorenzo, that was a real possibility. Here's Rich Bisaccia after the win.
At the end of the game, all the playoff machinations. Right. If you tie, was there any consideration to just running down the clock there and not even attempting a field goal?
It was conversation. We were talking about, I don't know if we ran the ball there and they didn't call a timeout. So I think they were probably thinking the same thing, and then we had the big run to there. And when we got the big run, it got us what we thought was advantageous field goal position for us. We were going to take the field goal and try to win it. But we're certainly talking about it on the sideline. We want to see if they were going to call a timeout or not on that run. They didn't, so we thought they were thinking the same thing. And then we popped the run in there and gave us a chance to kick the field goal to win it. So we're certainly talking about it.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't they didn't take the knee. That would have been kind of a Bush League way of getting in the playoffs. You got to go for the win.
Yeah. And then you could see that there would have been a rule change in the off season if both teams would have ended that way. Yeah, they're going to change that rule so that can't happen. It
was like, we thought about it though.
Yeah,
we didn't take a knee. Even Justin Herbert was like, man, I never wished for a tie so badly in my life. He mouthed that on television. But
so you saw that? Some say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said that.
Wow.
It was not to be for the Chargers as they're going home. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs. Ben Roethlisberger will play another day. And, of course, they go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, the team that everybody's saying is going to come out of the AFC. Your thoughts on the Chiefs and the Steelers?
Well, I want to be quick to say that, that'll be the last time we see Ben Roethlisberger play a game. But Najee Harris, depends on what his injury is looking like. Will he be able to play? Because he got hurt in that game. And Kansas City, who did they just struggle against? Can't remember who they just played. Struggled a little bit in that last game. So they're not on all cylinders, but they could have just, and Tyreek Hill was dealing with a heel injury. So the final game of the season, a lot of players sat out. So, people just basically trying to make sure they could just get out of the game without getting hurt. So can't judge too much on that. So I just have to say that I think Kansas City will just go ahead and, finish off Ben's career in that game.
Yeah, last time Steelers saw the Chiefs in Kansas City, 36-10.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Yeah, she's had 30 points before you could blink.
Hey, Jeff, can I give a couple of shout-outs to a few people that are watching?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Big shout going out to Kevin Cosby. He's watching. Wesley, Sean Marks. Sean has said there's a rumor that Doug Peterson might be up for the coaching position.
That,
yeah,
and I would hate that.
Yeah, he's a former Miami Dolphin quarterback. Also, big shout going out to Ty Evans. He says Joe Judge is gone too soon. I don't know what that means. I think he should be gone already. Terry Cardwell, also Anton Barnes, Andre Miller, and Patrick Spencer and Perry Wiley have all checked in. So I want to thank y'all so much for listening to the Jeff Fox Show with yours truly, Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas.
No doubt. And, of course, we definitely want to say hi to Ralph Hanna as well. Thank you, DJ Red. And Ruby Vasquez, who says Tua is not a franchise quarterback.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Perfect situation to have him as your quarterback. I mean, again, man, tough. The talk of the nation today was regarding this whole Brian Flores situation here in Miami. Even the national shows, Joy Taylor and Colin Cowherd, they offered some thoughts.
Owner Stephen Ross thanked Flores for his time in Miami, but he also said he thought the team was not functioning at the level he wanted them to and felt this decision was in the team's best interest.
They won 8 of 9. They weren't functioning at the level. What level did he want? 9 of 9?
I'm not quite sure what level he's ever experienced the Dolphins functioning highly at, because they're 96 and 113 since he's purchased the team. But if you're going to move on from Brian Flores, why would you not clean house? Chris Greer's the one responsible for hiring Brian Flores. He's responsible for the offensive line. He's responsible for Tua.
He's hired a lot of coaches, and they're all missing.
You've had 6 coaches since you've owned the team. And if the issue is a cultural thing, if the issue is internal issues, I don't want to hear that it's internal issues. Pitch to me that he wasn't good enough on the field. Because after 6 coaches, if it's internal issues, it ain't the coaches.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, baby. Thanks. I spoke with Joy about 2 weeks ago, Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And I got her, gauged her interest on what's going on down here. And I'm telling you, I know she's not happy.
Did you get her number?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to. All right, just want to make sure because we need to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Well, and she has some interesting perspective, and of course, we know that she probably knows some stuff too. So because of some gene lines and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So she when you talk about culture, she knows more about what's going on behind the scenes than anyone else. And I'm glad you played them, because some of the national pundits don't even know what they're talking about.
They have no idea what's going on.
I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna name any names, but I had to turn them off. I said, y'all don't have a clue. You know what I mean? Yes, right. I'm totally against the fact that Flores was fired, but some of the reasons they were giving were like, well, there's some things that you don't know that was going on behind the scenes that may have you thinking a lot differently. But he definitely deserved to get another year. I
want to say something about the Miami Dolphin fan base. They love this football team so much. I hosted a lot of Miami Dolphin watch parties this season at the round table, and Dolphin fans love this team. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve you getting rid of a coach that's winning. That seems to be headed in the right direction. If he doesn't get along with a few people in the organization, chalk it up. That's the business. I mean, now you're going to bring in a Doug Peterson, or you're going to bring in I don't know, the Harbaugh situation. Is that really going to happen? Was Ross just putting up smoke screens earlier when he said he's not going to take him from Michigan? Sure, you won't take him, but if he becomes available, conveniently available, sure, you'll hire him. I heard his name mentioned with the Raiders as well. And I don't know how I feel about that situation there as well. But I do like Byron Leftwich as a potential first-time head coach. I do like Brian Daboll as well as a potential head coach. And, there's some nice names out there, but I hate that the Miami Dolphin fan base are back.
Did something.
Years with this Miami Dolphin team. But again, Lorenzo's back here with us. Thanks for joining us again, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button somewhere. Sorry about that. But whatever, I'm not sure where we left off, but whatever coach takes over this franchise along with Chris Grier, you have a coach that's going to have 5 draft choices in the next draft within the first 4 rounds, and is going to possibly have $75 million projected under the cap. And then if you cut Devontae Parker, Allen Hurns, Eric Rowe, I don't think they'll cut Jason Sanders, but he had a terrible year. That's another $19 million that the Dolphins will have under the cap with 3 first-round draft choices over the next 3 years. So that could definitely be very inviting to anybody who wants to come here and be with Chris Grier. So those that are hungry, but I think I just want some veteran leadership, at that quarterback. I just want a veteran coach at that quarterback position because I think these young players need some veteran leadership.
Who's a good veteran coach that's out there who has a good reputation for building winners at quarterback was suggested to me by Big O today.
Who's that?
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell. Yeah.
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah.
And he can build a coaching staff. He's since it seems to be a requirement around here, he's a people person.
And the thing I found that out
today. Flores was not, right?
Yeah, what I found out today, I was wondering what happened with Jim Caldwell and talking. I've been on quite a few shows today. If you can imagine, I had heard that Jim Caldwell got sick. So I was like, okay, what happened? Why didn't they bring him back again? And then I'm hearing that was the narrative that they just put out there, that Jim and Flores started to knock heads. And that's why nothing materialized there. So that would be quite interesting that maybe they will come back and revisit that. So I was like, I was kind of surprised when I heard that. I said, wow, that was a narrative that was put out there because early on in his first year, him and Jim got into a huge argument or they just knocked heads. That's why the Jim Caldwell thing never worked out and it had nothing to do with him being sick. And I don't know if that's true, but just through conversations I've had today, that's what I've heard. So I was kind of blown away and I was like, wow. If that was the case. So if that started year 1 with him knocking heads and then going through Chad O'Shea and then going through Chan Gailey and now, having his boys, the 2 co-coordinators together and that not producing good offense, it's a problem when you're not able to hire a good offensive coaching staff. And then he's been through a couple of coaches on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, it says a lot when you have a lot of, people that are walking out of the door because of your reputation and how you speak and how you treat people. And then it was also rumored that in Tennessee, that Flores and Tua Tagovailoa got into an argument and Tua even said, listen, you can't treat people like that. So
what I'm hearing seems to be some sort of power struggle. Within the organization, and Flo lost.
Yeah, it came down. It was Ross said it's between Flores, Grier. I'm going with Grier. That's what it came down to.
Yeah. So. You're right, man. You're right. Hey, national championship tonight.
Woo!
And Bama or the Bulldogs. How about them dogs?
Hey,
I think they're slight favorites.
I just want to see a good game, man.
I think Bama gonna whoop that ass, as they always do.
Yeah, I just want to see a good game tonight.
All right, man. So that's gonna do it for us tonight here on the Jeff Fox Show. As the news breaks, we will have it for you. Keep following at the Jeff Fox Show TheChairShot.com, powered by Brandstar Sports and Entertainment. And, of course, keep up with Lorenzo Ice-T as they have the very best in classic hip-hop and R&B.
Yes, sir. On 100 on 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM. All right, go Raiders!
Yeah, go Raiders.
For a man who's been money.
Biggest kick of the year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Snap good, hold good, and Raiders in, Chargers out, Steelers in.
So at the end of the game, you know all the playoff machinations. If you tie, was there any consideration to just running down the clock there and not even attempting a field goal?
Yeah, it was conversation. We were talking about, I don't know if you know, we ran the ball there, and they didn't call a timeout. So I think they were probably thinking the same thing, and then we had the big run to there. And when we got the big run, it got us what we thought was advantageous field goal position for us. We were going to take the field goal and try to win it.
You've been listening to The Jeff Fox Show. Jeff Fox Show. Join us next time on the same platform for another exciting episode of The Jeff Fox Show. Remember, there's no Jeff Fox Show without your support. Continue to support The Jeff Fox Show via Cash App at #RadioHost1. This has been a production of The Jeff Fox Show Incorporated.
Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years.
Robert.
Hey, TT. Thanks for watching. Peace, Jeff.
Yeah. Hey, man. I had to put that in there. That's R. Kelly, man. I had to put him in there. All right. We go, man. Holler at you later.